So imagine you're sitting with your best friend, you're having a glass of wine, you're both unhappy in your job, or maybe you're not unhappy, but you're maybe, I don't know what the circumstances are, but you decide you're going to start a company. What is it you're doing? Have you two had that conversation?
Charcuterie boards.
Charcuterie boards.
That would be it.
Really? And if you had that conversation,
oh, yeah.
What's your company called? Did you come up with a name?
No name. Just that's what we would do.
Cheese and sausage.
Yeah. Cheese and sausage. I love it. That'd be the perfect name.
Let's go. Should we do it? Let's go now. But yeah, I know. I'm thinking about you and Cara. I think she would come up with something else. I'm sure she would veto me on that name. But our next guest is two people, which is great, and I'm really excited. I feel like Kate is very much more not high profile, much more visual.
Okay.
I don't know, and we're going to find this out today, who is the operator behind all of their social media. But these two school teachers, for whatever reason, and they'll tell us their story today, gave up their job and became two smart cookies.
Which is an adorable name.
Yes, and I don't think they're alone in that name because there's a few around. But I wonder if everyone has the same story that they have. They're two teachers that become bakers and marketeers because let's be honest.
Yes, they've had to start the company themselves.
Well, yeah, but also the cookies in themselves are marketing. Most of the cookies that they produce are purpose-shaped, custom-shaped, either to a holiday, to a brand, to an event,
or for
to
companies,
a thing.
everything.
Exactly.
Yes.
So it's a marketing thing. The really cool thing about what they do is I'm obsessed with watching.
Me too. I watch those videos all the time with
What
the
is
icing of the
that?
cookies.
I mean, are we being like hypnotized? It
I think
puts
so.
you in a trance.
I
Like,
absolutely think so.
If I click onto a video and that edge is occurring,
Me too.
I have to stay and watch till the end.
Yeah.
And
same.
I think it's an interesting phenomenon, and we need to research this because of all of the videos I post, and I post behind the scenes, and I get good audio, and I do all the things. The video I posted of Tom up and down the ladder wallpapering my board, the video of me painting my fireplace.
Mm-hmm. It's like the ASMR stuff.
Yes, people want to watch to the end.
Yes.
And there's something in that. And on top of their cookie enterprise, have you seen her secondary thing? I don't know which one's first. I think, she's equally invested in both, and a mum and all the kids and all these things. I need to know and find out a lot more about Autumn. But you know about her other business?
Yes, I've seen videos of her on Facebook and such.
Yeah. So she's doing Monet, I think.
Yes.
So which is the hair brand. And she's very much invested in it, and she's a team leader, and her social media presence is excellent.
Yes.
And so I want to know where she learned those skills and...
Right, what the background is. Maybe some
Absolutely.
marketing.
And maybe they're training her, and how does she know what to do? And she seems to be doing all the right things, and she's jumping on the trends. How the hell does she have time?
Right. They both have boys.
Yes.
So
So
they're
how many
busy.
boys does Autumn have?
One has 3 and one has 2.
Right. Okay. So I've met the 3. And farm and husband, I know about Kate. So yeah, so I want to get to know them both, find out what night of the week and how many glasses of wine they came up with this idea.
Yes.
And it might not have been any wine. We don't all do the wine all the time. But and just find out where they're going to go with these companies.
And how they don't eat all the cookies they make.
I think it's like most things. When you're making it, it's too much of it. I mean, I think I've actually eaten more York mints than I'm ever going to eat again. Because
But those are the best.
don't ever let me buy 120 in one go, though, because I definitely took at least 10% of those. Anyway.
It was worth it.
Hello and welcome. My name's Kerry Sheffield, photographer and CEO of my own successful business. I'm also the host of SheNETWorks, a great believer in lifting up women and loyal supporter to those that are around me. We are all surrounded by incredible women who are breaking the molds in this thing called life. Behind every successful online persona is a real person facing struggles, failures, and living real life stories that don't always have happy endings. We will have an honest conversation, dispel this myth of perfection, and find out what they consider a success, how they achieved it, and learn what they are still reaching for. You are not alone. Join the conversation.
welcome. Thank you so much for being here, Kate and Autumn. Have a little wave so everyone can see who you are. Kate with the blonde hair. That's it. And Autumn over here. So before you arrived here today, I had Steffi and I do this little introduction. We talk about you guys before you get here. And I said to her, just imagine two women on a Thursday night with a bottle of wine and they're like, I hate our life and we can do this and what should we call ourselves and what are we going to do? And
that's
so
us daily.
Yeah, okay. So I didn't know your story, but that's what I said to Stephanie. And Stephanie, literally, she's going to do charcuterie boards and she's going to be called boards and cheese or something. But anyway, it was kind of funny, but we were just talking about that. Tell us how Two Smart Cookies came about.
You start with you.
We have an abbreviated version and we have like a super long version. But really,
I want to hear a bit of both.
I think we're still kind of filling out how I got started.
How long's it been?
7 years.
7 years.
7 years.
Yeah,
oh my
7
gosh.
years.
Right. Okay. So yeah.
So we both were teachers. I had taught for years and then had my first child and stayed home and swore I was never going back to teaching. And that was the age when Martha Stewart was in her prime, Food Network, and I was going to be like the next Martha Stewart, stay-at-home mom, had all these plans. Fast forward, my son had a traumatic brain injury, and so that halted I had a little party blog with another friend, all that stopped. He had a traumatic brain injury, and so we were stuck at home. So I started doing cookies, still don't know how I started doing cookies.
Didn't you say that your doctor said like you need something for yourself?
Yeah, because you would go stir crazy because he basically could not do anything for like 6 months.
Can we talk about that? What happened?
He fell off the bed. As simple as that.
Really?
Derailed.
How old was he?
He was 3.5.
Wow.
It was the weekend of my older son's birthday. My husband had went to the grocery store, had just given him a bath, and they were sitting on our bed. I was upstairs getting pajamas and heard this fall, like a thump, a sound you never heard before, and he fell off the bed. And we should have played the lottery because it was a 1 in a million chance the way he fell. It cracked his skull.
Wow.
Turned into like the worst possible brain injury you could have. And Natasha Richardson had just passed away.
Yes.
So that was on everyone's mind. It had happened 2 weeks before.
And she went home, right, at that moment.
She went home.
She wasn't like, and then it was a bleed. Wow.
And because of her, brain injuries were on our mind and on everyone's mind.
That gives me chills. Yeah.
So he stayed with us. He slept with us that night, and he was fine afterwards. He just cried a little bit, but you could just tell something wasn't right. So the next morning, we took him to the pediatrician. They said, we do think he has a skull fracture, but that seems to be okay. But go ahead and take him to the hospital just to see, because there's nothing you can do for a skull fracture. So I went to the hospital, and they did that, and they said, yes, he does have it was a concussion, a skull fracture, but at the time he had a subdural hematoma, which is, if you're going to have a brain injury, that's the best kind to have. So they said, let's do another CAT scan in an hour. They did an hour. It had not grown, so they said, you're in the clear. Let's keep him overnight, make sure that he's okay. They keep him overnight. We stay overnight. The next morning, they said, let's just do one more scan just to make sure. And that's when it had grown. It had turned into an epidural hematoma, which is exactly what she had. And at that point, you have this whole discussion of, do you want surgery? Because when they're that little, things can go wonky. So fast forward, he had brain surgery. They removed it. By the time they had operated, it had pulled into like over a tablespoon worth of blood on his skull. Had we not made the decision to operate, who knows what would have happened. But
right. And has it left him with any long-term effects?
No, not really. It's his handwriting is atrocious, and they say that's because his core was, I guess he didn't have a lot of core work because he had to stay so still and stable for so long afterwards. So we blame that.
Really?
On
So
there.
there was a long recovery period.
It was. And then they had also told us that you'll see little things like as he goes through puberty. And so things were kind of intensified with him. Like he can just be such a butthole at times. And so we like to say, oh, well, is this because you're normal or is this because you had your brain injury?
Where's your accent from?
From North Carolina.
Because it just makes everything so much better and so much richer.
That's what we think about yours.
There you go. See, I forget I've got an accent, but I just love the way you said that. But you're still polite with it. That's the thing. That's the thing. So he's doing great now.
He's fantastic.
But
now.
it altered everything. You had to take care of him. So what were you teaching? What was your job?
So I was staying home at the time because they're 18 months apart. So I had taught kindergarten for years.
Yes.
But it also changed I think it changed. I think he was so young that he remembers bits and pieces of it. But for me, it changed everything, because once that really bad freak thing happens to you, like, you always think the worst. So, you know, I think that that's what's changed me, is I'm not a very positive person, because I think you always think something's bad's going to happen. Once that bad thing happens, that fluke just kind of stays with you.
So did you find that the rest of their childhood you were walking on tender hooks around them? Were they
Yes.
closeted a little bit?
And then once they became teenagers, it was magnified, because
Really?
you just worry all the time, which, I mean,
And boys
we
are
all
going to
do.
make you worry. Well, they all
do.
make you worry, but
They
and
do.
so Kate, how did you two meet? And
So fast forward, rewind to what she was saying. She had been like, okay, I'm not going to do teaching anymore. I'm at home with the kids. That's going to be it for me. Well, then I'm teaching. I taught for 11 years. I was pregnant with my second, and Autumn had kind of come up to the school a bit to volunteer, things like that. And then I needed a long-term sub.
And to stop, I had made her baby shower cookies.
She had made my baby shower
for her
cookies.
second baby
Yes.
shower, because I just kind of dabbled and did them for friends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that was.
And then that's kind of how we met. I knew she was the lady that made the cookies. And then next thing I knew, Miss Canistris was going to be my long-term sub. So we got to know each other in that way. And then personally, for me, totally removed from teaching.
I love what you just called her by her full
Miss
name.
Canistris. Oh yeah, because that's how I knew her.
And
like,
it makes me laugh when people call me Miss Carey. I just kind of chuckle so much inside because we just don't do that. So it's kind of funny. It makes me sound like, I don't know, a movie star, but maybe not. Maybe more of an adult movie star or something. But yeah.
That sounds good. It's got a good ring to it. But I mean, that's truly how I knew her, was just
yes.
Miss Canistris. So she volunteered. She was so sweet all the time. And now she's going to be my long-term sub. Perfect. And I knew she had done the cookies. And growing up, my mom and my sister and my mom loved to decorate cakes.
Yes.
So to the point to where even growing up, my sister and I would be like, do we have to, Mom? Like, it became an annoyance for us, because she always wanted us to do them with her. Now, of course, I'm so thankful she did. But what she had made with cookies intrigued me. And I was like, that they're so beautiful. I feel like I could do something with that, like that. So I just texted her and said, would you mind sharing your recipe? Like, I think it would be great to try. This was after she had been my sub. I had had my baby. And
We became really good
we
friends
became
after
friends
that.
through that time. Of course, she's like, yeah, sure, why not? And it's her recipe. Our recipe is her recipe. I actually have the original. When I text her that
And this
day,
is the biscuit recipe.
it's
and it doesn't change? Do you do different
Never
things?
change
Just
it.
the
We've
same?
added chocolate chips and
Okay.
cinnamon at times, but no.
Yeah,
So
so
you can make, both can make this while doing 1,000 other things, not thinking about it.
with my eyes closed.
Yes.
Although it is funny, because when we will take time off to prevent burnout and all those things, and then when we come back, I'll like text her like, wait, is
the recipe?
it 1 cup of sugar or 2?
But you're not eating these anymore, are you?
No.
Sometimes they're really, really, if you're having a really crappy day, like I'll take the little bits of the extra dough and just put them on a cookie sheet and bake them and eat them.
Yeah.
I don't really eat them that
You need
much
to start
anymore.
selling
But our
those in
boys
boxes.
do not. Like my 2 boys are
our
so
boys are
tired
over
of
it.
it.
Oh, really?
They're like, Mom, can you get the Oreos?
Well, it's just
Yeah.
funny because we were talking about this and eating the cookies. I did the thing for Miles to Go, and I made these mystery boxes.
Yes.
And I bought 120 York mints, and they were the heart-shaped patties. Now I ate 10% that didn't go into the box. So just for at least about a year, I'm kind of over it now. I won't touch them. I mean, what is it about these mint patties? I was laughing at my producer earlier about saying the word patties. It made me laugh. But because we just call them York mints. Women love those things. What is that? What is that about us?
I think they're so cute and so good.
I feel like we think we deserve it and we just
But
enjoy it.
they're sweet, aren't they? But they're also like minty fresh, so they don't taste as naughty as
That's not
cookie.
as they
As
are.
bits
And
of
they're
cookie.
pure sugar. Like Eileen, the dentist that we had on an earlier episode, she'd shoot me for eating those. So when did you decide to make this a business together?
So after I dabbled a little bit and kind of got the hang of it, we had friends.
Because
that-
you say the hang of it.
like get the hang of it because it is.
And
It's
it's
a lot.
so funny to
It's
go
a
back and
learning
look at
curve.
pictures. Like when I look back at the baby shower pictures that I made for Kate, I can't believe anyone bought them. But it's
But we all feel the
feel
same
the same
way
way.
about everything
Yeah,
we do. I mean,
totally.
don't ask me to bring out a picture I took 20 years ago.
You have to be you have to be willing to suck at something, like to put yourself out there. And
Totally.
truly, when we go back, that's my favorite part. I love looking at our journey of how bad they were when we first started. But it is a learning curve. Like, you have to learn how to do it.
And going back to what you said, I still remember sitting and getting the text, and I wish I would have screenshot and saved it when Kate said, so have you ever thought of maybe doing like a little business with this?
Yep.
Like, what do you think?
Dang, we should have said that.
And then it just kind of went from there.
It was thanks to friends that
and
had
how long
said...
were you, you started it, but how long before you stopped working in school?
Good question. You were, how many years then? Like,
gosh, I can't remember.
I left teaching the week before the world shut down in 2020.
Oh, okay.
It was definitely a God thing. It was definitely like such a blessing because I remember, so when you're teaching, you have the option, at least in Florida, to take a year off, but still guaranteed a job within the county in public education. So that's what I did after all 3 of my boys. And I did that with my third in 2019. And I had that week, my husband and I were like, okay, can we make this work? He is a black and white person, and we looked at the money we had made the year before in cookies. And it was like, you know what? It's time. I can resign from teaching. We both realized that we couldn't be good moms and good teachers at the same time. We were burning the candle from both ends.
And then adding
adding
lifestyle business in too, that's probably that coming to start
which
to
we
take
started
over.
to save our sanity. And it was saving our sanity, but doing both
But then
was
it can become a burden if you've got too many other priorities.
And it was a little easier in hindsight because I think I stopped because after I'd subbed for her, then I got back in full time. Still don't know how that happened. I still don't know. But my oldest was going into middle school. And so when the kids were at school with me, it was kind of easy because you were there all day and you loved seeing them and you had that inside connection with them. And that was fun and great. But when my son was going to middle school and I was having to pay someone to take him to school, which was 5 minutes from our house.
You're paying someone more than you're earning, probably.
It was enough was enough.
I was there in that time once.
And then you find out, as you know, and Kate will soon find out, when they're teenagers, that's when you have to be the most involved. You have to know. So we knew something had to give.
It gets more expensive too.
It does.
It gets more expensive. It takes more time. It's different worries. It's different stresses. It's all the things.
Yep.
So with Two Smart Cookies, do you believe it to be a sustainable business that you could make a living off of or that you could live off of? But how do you do that with 2 people?
I think it makes it easier with two people.
Think?
I think we both pick up, there's some things that Kate's amazing at that I'm not so great at. And then I think it's vice versa. And I think for some reason with us, it's just always worked. We've never had issues or drama, and people don't believe that, but we really never have. And I think that sometimes we just get it right and it works. And I don't think I could do it without her. And I think the same for you.
How many cookies do you need to make a week for you to feel like you've had a good week?
Well, see, I'm not a numbers math person. That's Kate's part.
So that's, and actually,
enough when I can pay the math tutor that's helping my son with calculus out of Venmo, as long as I have enough.
Who uses calculus enough?
Exactly.
I've never done it. We don't do calculus. I don't. Maybe we call it something else.
So we joke now and say, my son, do you have the Venmo for me to go to the calculus teacher? So that's how we know if it's been a good week.
Yeah.
I would say personally for me, like anywhere from 12 to 15 dozen a week is like it's a good week. Right. And that is kind of the beauty of working for yourself though, because we can overpack our weeks, or we can, our kids have spring break coming off. We're not working during spring break. So there's a blessing and a curse for being your own boss, big time. But the fact that we are a creative business. So like we have a product that we put out and it's a product that can go bad. What's the word I'm looking for?
Well, so it's got a shelf life.
Yeah, it's got a shelf life.
But let's look at this from not a mum perspective, not a wife perspective, not a lifestyle business. So this is supplementing an income. You both have partners, and so it's a dual income, and you're both bringing money in. If somebody was out there and they were considering taking this on as a business, they're the sole earner. Is it a business that you think that's operating with 1, maybe 2 people, that people can have a sustainable income from? Or is this a business where, but not to downplay it, because listen, I've run a lifestyle business for a long time. Could I run a life and run my family? I mean, maybe they wouldn't be going to like 2 top colleges and I'd be paying for everything.
Right.
But yes, I could. Yeah, I can. I know what I'd need to do in order to make that happen, and I've grown into that. But when I started, my business paid for all the fun stuff, and like you, I didn't work then, and I didn't work then, and I picked and choose, and I actually started to be a photographer. I had another business that completely argued with being a parent because of the time I had to put into it. So I started this, and I took my kids to work with me, and I worked around them, and I worked in schools initially. But how does somebody make a business like this work enough to sustain a family? Is it possible?
I think it's possible. I do.
But what changes would you have to make as a business? Do you have to put manufacturing out somewhere else?
Well, I think you have to hire help.
Yes.
I think right now
100%.
it's just Kate and me, and like my husband is half delivery driver for
Right.
us. But I think you have to invest in having people that work for you. And I think for us, it would be to have a storefront, to have a brick and mortar.
And do you need a professional kitchen? What are the things required in Florida to operate a business where you're handling food and all that kind of thing?
That's a good question. So what we found when we started, because we knew nothing when we started this, so diving in a little bit, the cottage food law in Florida, it's different with every state, but that allows people to make bread in their kitchen and sell it, make cookies in their kitchen and sell it without the worry of your kitchen being inspected. Because let's be honest, no one's personal kitchen is ever going to pass like an FDA inspection. So that's the cottage food law allows us to do that. Has its own like rigorous sort of rules you follow, but it's great. You step into an actual storefront, then you're going to jump over into being open to inspections and needing the kitchen be top notch, things like that.
Yeah.
So I feel like what we've done so far, and I think 2020 has shown all of us, there's so many things you can do with inside your house in the comfort of your own time. But if we were to step into this really, like, because for us, it really is still a lifestyle business. Like doing what we do, I don't think it could be a one-woman show and a one-person income, especially if it's a household with kids, because the kids are running around like crazy. You're on their schedules.
Well, you just
all of it.
And when I say to people that have really great ideas, and I'm around people that become mums and start a business, or I'm around people that have a wedding and decide, I can do that, and I'm going to go do it, and glitzing up train sneakers, or all these little things. I used to make hand-tied bouquets out of underwear. They were called posy pants. So they
fantastic.
and I made saucy ones, and I made them for bachelorette parties and whatever. It took me such a long time. They look like a bouquet of flowers.
Yes.
And then I would have some really high-end silks in there, but there'd be a box and there'd be all sorts of fun things, and we won't talk about what was in some of the boxes. But it looked like a really nice bouquet. It was a great thing to gift. Break down the hours.
Yes.
It took me to make that. I'm not making any money.
No.
Like, this was below minimum wage. And it really was pin money, we would call it, pocket money for me. And it was a thing. I quickly realized in order for this to be a business, I'm having to go out of country and pay people that are probably not working in the best circumstances without me going there to visit to make this product for me. And then it loses all its appeal, right? It's not a thing. So yeah, that was interesting. And it's interesting for people to know this. The reality is, from this business, it's something you can do in and around your families. You can make something nice that pays for the good stuff, can supplement an income, but unless you employ people, open a storefront, do a kit. I mean, there are cookie companies out there that are making it, but would you still have the same fulfillment?
Well, that's the other thing. The burnout is real when you're creative, and when you get paid to do something you're passionate about or create something that you're passionate about, the burnout is a real thing. So that being not the sole breadwinners for our families has allowed us to, like, we always take the month of July off. Like, we need that time because spring is crazy, and then we take a little time off in December. We need that. We are so burnt out by that point to where I think someone getting started has to, like, really realistically look at what they want from this, do a little research into all the things. For us, it's not just making cookies, it's the packaging, it's the time, it's everything that goes into it. And then on top of that, just like really figure out what your timing would look like throughout your year.
But fair enough too, is I'm at the point where I have a son that's graduating and then one that'll be graduating next year. So I'm looking for that next step. What am I going to do when we have an empty nest and they're out of the house? And so I'm at that point where I'm ready to make that leap and go into having the storefront and go all in, and then the little boutique and everything. Exactly.
Yeah. So Autumn, answer for Kate, answer for Autumn. What does Autumn bring to your company?
Oh my gosh.
What's her skill set? And
her skill set?
Yeah, and you can answer this as friends. rather than being nice on camera? What is it that she brings that you don't do? Yeah.
No, I can name a million things because, like she said, this would not be possible without her. And I don't know how anyone would do this by themselves, but Autumn is the vision. She has such a vision in her head for what our business is, for what we want it to be. And even down to like the smallest things. Like when we go to a pop-up shop, I unload all the cookies, I get them where they are, and I say, okay, what do you see here? Because she has this vision of what the table's gonna look like, what the packaging's gonna look like, how we're gonna place things down to the details of that. And it's amazing. And she's the one who's thinking of 3 holidays in advance. I mean, let's be honest, we're a cookie business. We are very busy during holidays. So, you know, when it's Christmas time, she's already looking at Valentine's things because we've got to be 2 holidays ahead. Or in my mind, I'm like, we're not there yet. I can't look at that, you know? Yeah. So her vision and creative, just like foresight into what we're doing is amazing. Oh, and scheduling. She is I call her my cookie bookie because
I love that.
She is the one that takes the scheduling and the emails, and I will say, okay, what do we have coming up this month? And I get like like, that's incredible. And I
love a good list.
And I let things fall through the cracks. I am more of a scattered, like you want to go what type we are. I am way more like, I think there's some magic in the mess, but I'm a messy person.
Yeah, I have seen a few of your videos that are set at home. You make me feel better about me, but yeah.
But that's why it works.
It is why it works.
And likewise. What does Kate bring?
Kate's the nice one. She's the nice one. She's the people person. She could talk to a stranger. She's as you see, she's bubbly and she loves people and is always nice to everyone.
Is she the social media queen?
Yes.
I
do.
I'm very reserved. I don't like to put things out there.
It was kind of interesting when you're researching someone and you're looking up a company and you're trying to find out information. And that's the thing now. This online presence is very much needed, especially when you're running a boutique business. Somebody has to be the person
like all of a sudden
that.
You're like, oh, I didn't post anything today. Like, you know, it can be. There's a lot of stress that goes into it.
I want to ask you both, talk to me about the videos of filling in cookies. And I'm going to tell you how that makes people feel. So why did you start doing that?
Well, we were watching other people do it, really.
Oh, yeah. We love watching other people flood cookies.
What
and
is it? It's
so
hypnotic.
Calming. It very much so.
I mean, literally, if I get hooked into one of those, I have to stay to the end.
Yeah. There's one of the cookiers that we love. She's out in Texas. She mentioned one day that there's certain teachers within her like school district will be like, can you send me this video? And the teachers in the classroom will use it as like a soothing way to calm the kids down. It's crazy. It is hypnotic.
You could put hypnotic messages into those videos.
Buy more cookies.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's happening, right?
It's happening.
It's the thing. But and let's talk about the actual fundamentals of what you're making, because it's the shape. So are your designs already out there? Are you just buying different shapes, or are you creating the shapes? Are people making that for you? I mean, there must be a point where there's a design board, or you just do you have a book full of the 20,000 million cookie designs that are out there?
That's all Instagram, really. It goes back to social media. We have a couple of favorite people that we love that we buy cookie cutters from.
Right. Okay.
And so we've also, that's kind of back with the price and the demand of the business. At the point we are now, we don't like to buy a lot of new cookie cutters. So we're always trying to reinvent how we can use current shapes that we have, how we can turn it into something else.
Is it an expensive process buying them?
They're
when there's not many people producing, it can be expensive because they know their worth.
Right.
You know?
Yes. Right.
I mean, the trick is to find someone to make these things for you, right?
I know.
And then you can be wholly custom. I mean, how I envisage this, because it's not like the cookies you take off the shelf. They are, I'm sure they taste delicious, but they are a visual thing. They're used to gift. They're used for marketing. They're used for all these things. Like for someone like me, SheNETWorks, I want a cookie. I want a cookie that SheNETWorks. Yeah. I want that shape, and I want this. And I can imagine that there's an opportunity. There's an opportunity to grow for growth.
Exactly.
There's that boutique business. Having a shop front. Having done that on a couple of businesses, and I miss that, and I kind of have it here, but we're not retail, it's by appointment. But having a shop front is very much a lifestyle thing, and you'll find when don't become an empty nester, become a free bird.
Ooh,
yeah,
that's a good phrase.
And I picked that from somebody else. But when you get to that point, being successful is very much still up there, but fulfilling yourself emotionally is a stronger, more overwhelming feeling, I think. I think there's lots of things that you're still going to have on your ticket, your bucket list, and I still want success. My passion, I was talking to a woman 10 years younger than me, and her like energy was, and I remember that. But then now I'm like, yes, I still want to do things, I still want to grow, and what else can I do, and this is why I'm doing this. But suddenly feeling fulfilled, being successful, but having peace, having time for yourself. I want to work and be successful to pay for all the other things that I want to go do that's got nothing to do with fulfilling other people's dreams.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? It's finding that happy medium. So I think, and, you know, if I was working with I work in marketing and branding, I would say, okay, we do this and get super creative with this, and then set up the machine that churns out 10,000 cookies with a company brand on it just to pay for the fun things. I do free collaborative shoots for my creativity, and I don't get paid. But then I'll go and do a big job for a big corporate company, and I'll charge them all the money, and I'll do a good job for them. That doesn't fill my soul. This does, but that pays for me to do that.
I love that. I love that.
And
Yep.
it's finding that middle ground.
Yeah.
And I think also to kind of go along with that is, for me, having a storefront would be, I could go in, close the door, walk out, and leave it. When it's at my house, it's still kind of on my mind. Like, I need that separation for a little bit.
Yeah,
Like
I opened this studio. Yeah, I got this studio. I had a perfectly good space in my house, but with COVID and everything, I didn't get a work visa till 2019. The moment I got a work visa, we had COVID. So I spent a year at home. I mean, we were much luckier in Florida than anywhere else. But then I was like, I've got to get out of the house.
Yeah.
I want to go and do something. And I needed a fresh impetus.
Exactly.
There's nothing like a rent bill to make you hustle.
To really,
Right.
that's a great point.
Like with the first couple of months in here, I was prepared to photograph anything. I've got choosy now. No, I don't want all the big dogs and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I was like, I'll shoot everything, and now I won't. And you know, I shoot everyone and hurt no one. But yeah, so I kind of toned it down. But yes, it will give a new, fresh injection to you and your fulfillment and your life. And then you're always going to have to circle back. And it's lovely that you're so aware of burnout. What did that look like for you too then, burnout? Were you in that phase where, like I just said, you take on everything and then you suddenly realize this is not fun anymore?
Yeah, when you first start, you take on everything. I mean, when we first started, you know, people are like, how much are your cookies? You're like, I don't know. How much do you want to pay?
And then if
we
they
didn't know what to do.
And then when people ask us the breakdown, like, how much does it cost to do a dozen? We still haven't figured that out.
Right.
We still don't know.
Actual cost.
I think for me, my biggest burnout has been this year.
I just had a little bit of a... We talk about that afterwards. Right. You know, because honestly, I've only just, after 20 years in business, got so excited about the numbers. Because I've been doing this a long time. And I always felt that money didn't drive me.
Right.
And that's called a money block. That's called not wanting to charge people. That's called wanting to make everyone happy regardless of what it costs me.
And that's our personalities too.
Yeah.
It
Which
is.
we're working on.
But what will happen is you'll do so much that you will just throw it all away because you've had enough, rather than charging enough so that you never throw it away. I think it's taken me far too long to get to that point that, like, yes, I will do this for you, but this is, and in return, I expect the minimum of. And the fact that I'll say to people, yes, you need to mention me, yes, you need to tag me, yes, you need to do a sole post about me, yes, not because I'm mean, but I get asked every day to do these things, and I'm sure you do. When you're in a creative enterprise, people think there's no cost in what we do.
Yes.
Our time is more valuable than any piece of sugar or any biscuit that you've just made. How we get to that point, skill set, everything that you do. So I think I realized in the past couple of years, and I started to get motivated by numbers. I wrote down a big fat number. How many hours do I need to work? Well, no, this is the number I want. I want to bank that. And then I'm still not at that big number yet, and I just put it up a little bit more, just to put a little bit more pressure on myself. This is a number I want to achieve. These are the hours I want to work a week. These are the days of the week I want to work, and these are how many months. And then I divide that up by that big number. And then I divide that up by a dozen cookies. That's how much that cookie costs. So you need to write down your actual cost of making it, so that you add what you want to earn on top. There's the cost of your service. Then you add the $1 million on top of that you want to earn. Like your cost of service comes before. Like, so you don't say, I want to earn $1 million, but this has cost me $500,000. I want to earn $1 million, and so I need to make 50. I need to make 1.5 million. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Yep.
But I think the moment you start to have fun with those numbers, you don't. It doesn't change how you run and be those wonderful people and fill people's lives with joy. Because obviously nobody gets sad looking at a cookie. But it makes it more interesting for you. The moment you start going, oh my God, I did that. I'll tell you a quick story and I'll let you guys talk a bit more. And this is when I really realized, looking at numbers and visualizing it, writing it down on a piece of paper, you like a list.
Love a list.
I wanted to fly, which was a big deal for me. This might sound a bit weird and a bit off for some people. I wanted to fly to my friend's wedding, business class with Emirates from New York to Milan, and it cost quite a few $1,000s for two people. And I said, okay, I'm going to book tickets. We had a fight about it at home. We got to pay for school, we got to do college. I went, I'll book the tickets on Sunday, I'll pay for it by Friday. And I did the thing. I wrote it down, found the numbers, I did the jobs, I made phone calls. I paid for it by Thursday. There's something in those numbers. I get emotional about it because we're not just doing this to make cookies or to be busy. We got enough work to do. You could keep yourselves busy all day, every day. I think we do it to yes, we want to help. We want to supplement income. We want to prove something to ourselves.
Yeah.
We're out there in the world. We're all showing up and doing the thing. But let's show up and do the thing, and let's get big checks doing it. And I do believe that the moment you write down the goal, the moment you visualize it, the moment you see it, you can actually make it come into existence. Your place. Find a picture of that place, stick it on the wall.
Happen.
And
Well, we have the place.
really?
So
Tell us about
ironically, we had bought before I subbed for Kate, because I had always wanted to have a store. My husband and I had bought
Really?
a little house, and we were going to turn it into a store. And then I ended up saying, well, it would be fun to do this sub position and be at the boys' school, so we'll just hold on to it.
What's
And
happening
so
to this house? Is someone
we rent it out.
Right.
So we rent it out now. So we have the spot. We just have
Where
to
is
take
it?
the lead. It's in Oviedo.
Oviedo. And
Yes.
it's like a charming kind of cottagey
It's
kind of
cute.
house.
Oh, it's so
Yeah.
cute.
Yeah,
We
it's
would
cute.
turn it
I mean, we
into-
definitely would have to put our touch on it, but
So
it's
what's
cute.
the idea for that business?
So I would love to do our cookie stuff, but then also have little gift things and have a little boutique, and people could rent it out for baby showers and wedding showers and girls' night outs and stuff.
Yeah, and this is when you really have to start thinking. I mean, and it's so fun to be all the things, but then you get, okay, what is the thing that's going to make this successful, and then what can we add to it to keep it going and to keep us interested? And
going back to something that you said earlier when you were saying about talking about friends and saying no to people, I think one thing that's hard for us is people thinking that we are the business that we are, because people say, oh, you just kind of do cookies out of your house and you do cookies at home, and not realizing the significance of the business and the connections that we've made and things like that. I think that's kind of frustrating too at times, and especially now.
Yeah,
There's a level of
they
professionalism.
take it down, and
Right.
me talking
Right.
to you about money is not in any way being me trying to be patronising.
No.
I've been doing this for 20
Right.
years, and it's other mentors that made me realise that. I mean, it took me a long time to call myself a professional. It's ridiculous. I used to work for the royal family, for heaven's sake. This is what I do. But because you're a mum, because
And you're out of your house for some reason, when
Yes.
people think that you're doing it out of your home, they just they don't give it the seriousness.
No,
or the
and you do
importance.
get undervalued, and there is something. It is a perception when you have bricks and mortar. Suddenly, all the audience that I had over in Windermere doubled the moment I opened a place in downtown Orlando, because suddenly I looked legitimate. I've been doing this 16 years before I moved here and did this. I've traveled around the world and I've been booked by people. But I don't have to have that conversation anymore. Suddenly there's a bit more respect in what you do. And that kind of feels nice. We can survive without it, but there's nothing wrong in that. There's nothing.
You sort of feel validated.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think And more to the point too, that I think that people's validation falls off eventually, and you don't really need that so much. I don't need to be told what I do is what I do. There's always going to be someone better than me. There's always going to be somebody richer than me. There's always going to be somebody doing nicer things than I do. I know what I do it well, and I'm fine with that. I think this is where I've come to in life, and I've moved on to different things. What can I do with my skill set to grow it, to make me feel better?
Yeah.
And still hit the numbers. I only want to hit those numbers, not because I want to go buy anything. There's nothing I want in life. And like I said, we're not millionaires or anything. I just don't need anything in my life. I want to do it to see if I can do it.
Oh, that motivation is big.
Yeah, it gets me excited. But it's taken me a long time to get excited about numbers. Maybe it's because I have a lot of rent.
I feel like you have to give yourself permission to say that I like making money. That is hard for women, I think, to say.
And I think your culture in America, I think the culture's different. I think it's not considered crass or vulgar to want to make money. We love to champion the underdog where I come from. And I've had this conversation before where people like to build people up and they love their success and then they like to knock them down, but I think it's okay to be an entrepreneur here, to be a self-starter, to make money and to be successful. I think to do well, and maybe for the way I grew up, it is judged and criticized. It's ridiculous.
Right.
I mean, no one said it's wrong to be to be rich, and I don't have a problem with money. And when I see it, and when I see it in everybody else, I just don't need that. I want enough. I want enough to go do the things in order what I want to do to go and live a life. Right. I do like nice plane tickets. I can't lie. That's it. I'll stay in an Airbnb at the other end, but
exactly.
I don't want to suffer.
Getting there's half
I've got
the
a bad
fun.
back. Yeah, that's it. Talking about connections that you've made, you've had some interesting clients. I did see a thing about the Orlando Magic digital Christmas cards.
Oh my gosh.
Tell us about some of your favorite cookie designs that you've done.
That was so fun. The Orlando Magic.
Yeah,
was
I watched the
blast.
video. So the digital, was it the whole, the characters?
Stuff and everything.
Tell me, did you get new cutters made, or what were you recycling in order to make the characters? Because what's the guy's name? What's the Stuff. Yes. Yeah.
Our connection there was so much fun.
Yes.
I played soccer at UCF, and one of my teammates is married to Stuff, the guy that plays Stuff. And
he's so good. He's the best thing about it.
He is fantastic.
Sorry, Orlando Magic, but yeah.
Oh, he's amazing. So, this was back in 2019. I was pregnant with JJ, so right before COVID. But they wanted us to help make their digital Christmas card. So this Christmas card was going out to everyone that was, I don't know, a member of the Orlando Magic, connected in any way. Yeah. Right. So we went and we were in Autumn's kitchen. I mean,
that was a big aha moment.
Totally.
That was exciting. They came to film us. Yeah. That was really fun.
We had made the cookies previously and then also decorated it in front of them. Like if you look closely,
did you buy special pennies for this?
No, just our aprons that we had on.
We hate our aprons, by the way.
We still wear them. They're like the OG aprons.
Yeah.
So
They're not
they
flattering
came to
in the
film
least.
They came, they filmed us, and it was so much fun. And really, it felt like totally an aha moment. Like, we can do this.
Any other favorite clients that you've had like that?
We've done a lot for the Orlando Museum of Art.
Oh, really? That's wonderful.
We've gotten really lucky.
Do you know Coralie really well? Who's the person that you work with there?
So I'm in Council of 101 for the Orlando Museum.
Okay.
So a couple of people through there, we just kind of landed. But we've been surrounded and supported by some and most of them have been women, really great women in our community who have kind of championed us with cookies. Like a couple of friends that have stores in Orlando have referred us to people. And I feel like so much of our business has been luck too. I think we've worked really, really hard, but I think we've had a lot of luck. Yeah,
and you do a great job and you do a great product. You show up really well. You show up really well together. I'm always recommending you. It's so easy. I don't understand, I have my Facebook group and I'm like, sharing is caring on Friday. Like just, the easiest thing you can do to support another business owner is to just tell people.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And it costs nothing.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like you feel like you're just pushing that. I'm like, how hard is that? And it's funny when I meet new people, I never think to myself, well, what can I use them for? I think, oh God, I need to introduce you to so and so because you two would be great together. I think it's just the way I made it. This is all about SheNETWorks, just introducing people to other people. What's been your favorite cookie design?
Gosh, our favorite.
You must have had one you like.
That's probably the hardest question you've asked.
Well, I know when I used to do flowers, so I had a florist shop, and then
You have done everything.
Oh, I know. I'm sorry. I'm 107. But so, and I sold that business because I had 3 children under 10. It was too much, and I miss it. I loved it, although it's stinky and it's really cold in England, and I would love to do more of it. But so you do a wedding, and you start, and then you got to make 50 arrangements that are the same, and I'm like.
That's the same with our cookies wedding cookie, right?
Yeah.
So someone needs 200 of the same design. It's
And
like,
you're really enthusiastic, sorry.
Right.
And then, you're like, oh my God,
Exactly.
I've got to make 99
I
more.
think my favorite designs, this is more of a general statement. My favorite thing to do is when someone says, I need 3 dozen. Here's what the invitation looks like. This is the vibe. Go for it. That's our favorite because we get to have like creative ownership over that. Probably the least favorite is when someone's like, can you make, very particular, right? Can you make this cookie with this color? Because we lose our little creative design in that.
And because we have 5 boys between us, we love all the girly colors.
yeah.
We love the pastels, the
girl
girl baby showers, the girl birthdays, the princess. We love those. Just because we're surrounded by boys all the time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so talk about the design work. I mean, I know that you have certain shapes, but when you get a free range, what's your process? Are you drawing this thing?
No, we don't draw them out, but usually like what I'll do is you kind of like look at the shapes you have. As soon as I see an invitation, like I immediately have ideas. Okay, this is more of a floral theme or what's the vibe? And we'll pick 4 to 5 depending on how many how many they want total designs and then just duplicate those. But usually the main question I always ask too, because people are very particular, even when we get a creative, like they let us go creatively, is are there any certain words or saying you want on them or anything you don't want? Because sometimes people are really particular about that. But then after that, it's like, it's kind of, we just get a feeling. I mean, we've been doing this for 7 years. And when you see that and you go with it, we have our set cutters. We have certain things that we always, I feel like, go towards. But I can take a circle and make it anything.
So I love your place card ones.
Those are fun.
Those are really
And
fun.
so do you add the names for the people on them or they?
We used to.
Or do they use a pen or?
So we have an edible marker that we include, and so then they can write them.
Well, we learned the hard way after too many mistakes on the spelling of names.
Yes.
And our cookies, the timeline is long. It's a day of baking, it's a day of flooding, it's a day of details, and it's a day of packaging. And if all of a sudden we made a mistake and you need this in 2 hours fixed, like it can't be done.
And flooding, by the way, is the bit that's so therapeutic.
That's the therapeutic part. Yes, exactly.
And that is when you do an edge and do a border and then you
just
fill.
Yes.
I mean,
it takes time.
Yes.
And in this Florida humidity, oh my gosh, we text each other all the time like, this damn humidity, because it takes a long time to dry here.
So if you had like a cold room or something, if you had your ideal situation, if you had a shop front, what's your actual requirements? Like when you can build the factory, how would you create it?
The AC would be set to 65.
Super low.
Really?
Super low.
Just to keep
true.
it.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you had any disasters that you've had to remedy and
so
rescue
many.
quickly?
Yes.
Because especially
So
when you
many.
deliver, and if people don't follow your instructions.
Yes.
And there'll be, we have this great store in Oviedo where we have all our pickups that they let us,
that's great.
stock the shelf
They're
and
the
people come to
best.
pick up from there. But a couple of times people will not come and pick their cookies up until a day later. Well, then they've been sitting there.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's not how they were when they left our house.
Yes.
And so just that kind of thing. But we've
And
made
that's going
mistakes
to crush your
before.
soul, right?
Yeah.
Does.
We've made mistakes. I mean, we've made so many mistakes.
Yes.
So there must be one. What's the job that you would both say in unison and go?
Forgetting an order.
Oh my God, it happened last week.
Really?
Oh, an order just passed through the cracks. And then next thing we know, she's like, I need these by tomorrow, just checking in. And that stuff happens. And I mean, that is where, when you think of like, okay, how can we scale our business, things like
How
that.
many was it?
4 dozen.
That's substantial.
Piped up real quick.
So you were up all
That's
night.
real nice.
I was.
I happen to be out
She
of town.
was out of
that
town.
weekend.
You were.
See, that's the part
She's
that's
out
good with
having fun
business.
making TikTok videos. I saw it.
Exactly.
This one
And
especially.
here I am leaving
Is
my
that how
lunch
you wake up in
early.
the
I was
morning?
sitting in the
Lunch
parking
early?
lot leaving my lunch early to go home and make Kate's 4 dozen cookies.
That I
But
made a mistake.
that's the thing. That's why it's the beauty of having a cookie partner
yes.
to do this with.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll talk about social media a little bit because clearly this is something that you are really, really good at and you really, really enjoy.
Thank
you
you.
seem to jump on those trends super quickly and you seem to have a finger on the pulse of all of that. So on top of 2 Smart Cookies and having a family and running around and doing life, and we know just having a family alone is a full-time job, especially your 3 gorgeous little boys. I mean, they're all very young. I mean, they're not running themselves. You're taking care of them. And your husband must do shifts too, because
He's a firefighter.
Service. Yeah.
Yeah.
You started with, did I say it, Monet?
Yeah.
Okay, so Monet, and tell us about that a little bit. So this is something extra.
It is something extra. First of all, when you say that I'm good at social media, that means so much, because a couple years ago, the answer was I definitely wasn't. But social media is a beautiful tool that everything's figure-outable.
You
That's
pop
what I
up
learned.
every day.
That's good.
Yeah.
Consistency is everything, which I've learned. But I took on this extra business because, so my boys are 4, 8, and 11, and we are a busy family, as everybody is, and with my husband being gone plenty of days during the week, I realized, as we mentioned in the very beginning, that as dependent as we were upon his income and our cookie income, we still just weren't making ends meet. And so Monate is a network marketing company, and it is products, hair products, skincare products that I find women love, men love. We use them every day, and I figured, okay, if I can give this a shot, like maybe it can just close that gap where I wasn't making enough cookies or wasn't bringing in as much as I'd like to. And that's where that started. That was 3 years ago. Right after the holidays, everyone knows the holidays are tough. You get into January, you're like, what just happened? And to be super honest, we both come out of December with a bit of that burnout. And I was kind of feeling that. Quite frankly, it scared the hell out of me. I did not know what I was doing on social media. But I had like less than 300 followers. I never talked on the camera. I just showed pictures of my boys. But I learned that I kind of had that vision, like you were saying. I had a monetary idea of what I wanted to bring in. And I wrote it down, and I told my husband, like, I'm going to make this work. I can do both. I can make this work. And next thing I knew, just being consistent, showing up, seriously so messy, finding like the magic in that mess. I think that authenticity is what we're missing so many times. And when you do show up as a total rookie, absolutely, it's relatable. And that is what ended up, I built my business on social media, and really just doing things. Well, I've never done this before, but meeting up in public, talking with other women, like that's it. Yeah. And so I was craving something that I could like really call my own and help out more than I was doing with cookies. And this completely filled that gap.
Well, and what you're missing here and what you're not sharing is, because it's hard for you to see this from your side, is how you tell your story. It's like you made this discovery and this worked so well for you. Yeah. Your hair journey. And look, we can laugh about it. Yeah. For some people, it's only hair, but it's not only hair. Right. Some people lose their hair. Some people go through traumatic experiences over their hair. Some people get cancer and all these things. This hair makes us feel very vulnerable either way. Absolutely. And men lose their hair. And I said this to my husband the other day. I said, but you know what? Society ribs you about it because it's socially acceptable. But for a woman to lose her hair, this is every woman's nightmare, you know. And
I mean, it's our crown. Like when you look, and it took me a moment to accept that. When I first started, I personally felt like, okay, I can give this a shot. But to me, it was surface when I first started. So where did it come from? It came from, so my sister's a hairstylist, and she had started. So
you were playing a role, but then it became a reality.
Wow, I never said it that way, but yeah, you absolutely nailed it. I was playing the role of, I can do this and make some money. And then all of a sudden, like you just said, our hair is our crown. I was helping other women feel confident again. And there's no other feeling like that. Our cookies make people smile. They bring people joy. I also found a place where I could take like my role as a teacher in the way I educate other people, which I thought I had given up on, kind of lost forever when I left teaching. And now I can help other women feel great, educate them on how to feel confident again. And that, all of a sudden, I became passionate about it. So then it went from being surface level, like people say, you're so passionate about shampoo. No, I'm not. I'm really passionate about helping other people feel better.
Absolutely.
And also helping other people close the gap when it comes to income, like I did. Like giving yourself permission to say, money comes freely to me. I want to make money. Yes. I need to make money in order to live in America right now. But
your entire business is visual. Yeah. The fact that you're sharing it, and people are believing in it. And I think it's okay there's stigma behind network marketing, and there's this pyramid selling thing or whatever. So you have to feel good about it. If it, for any reason, it makes you feel a little bit ick, but if you believe in that product, the fact that you show such a belief in that product, I'm always like, because I've had people call me about Monet and say, I'm like, what's wrong with my hair? Why are you saying that to me? Like, it's because I have hair that you're saying this to me. But, I mean, you can get rid of the other hair that I'm always trying to get rid of because I'm so dark. But, you know, like, I think, okay. Because there was a period where I was suffering with thinner hair, hormones, and all that kind of stuff.
And we suffer in silence because as women, we don't want to speak up. It's embarrassing. You almost think it's my fault. And then I think on another, like, layer of that is that as moms, usually we push all that to the back burner. And we say, I'm fine. I'll throw it up in a ponytail. I'm taking care of my kids 24/7. This is my only job. Whereas if you're not liking what you're seeing in the mirror, you don't feel comfortable, that bleeds into every piece of your life.
Relationship.
Everything.
Your
how you mom, how you're a wife, how you're a friend.
Yes. How you show up for your business.
Exactly.
Like just being present. So, and I think what you're doing is I've done lots of things. I still believe that everything I've done, and I've had lots of jobs. I mean, I've been living and working alone since I was 14 years old. That's why.
That's amazing.
And the only thing I could go and do is sell and market. And I've always, you know, and I had no choice in that. Like I wanted to do other things. It's kind of what I wanted to do right now, journalism and stuff. But I had to go out and live and work in the world. And life takes you in different places. So I just adapted and changed with life. I'd go, went with my husband to run a golf club, and I was doing sales and marketing for him. And then I was pregnant, and I was organising people's events and doing their flowers and whatever. And I'm like, I'm getting paid a salary. I could do this for myself and be at home with my baby and whatever. And so I did it. You know, I think the only thing that I have is this, okay, if they can do it, I can do it. And then I go and teach myself. But I'm loving what you're doing with this, and I can see your input in the social media, and I can see how together, you know, I mean, you know, she's keeping you on the straight and narrow, clearly.
My girl.
And the idea was hers. But but you're out there and she's making all the noise. That's like a happy marriage, right? That's what you need. But you need that in a relationship. You can't be the two outrageous ones. That
what do you always say? You can't have two
chiefs.
You can't have two chiefs. Yeah. So it's like
we try in my house.
Different points of our business and how we share what we do, we're chiefs in like different areas, I feel like.
But what you're learning with Monet, I think, is also helping you here.
Yes.
Because of how you're showing up with so you're taking the video content, and do you often go, that new trend? I loved it the other day, and it made me smile. You're already booked to come on. And then you did that video where the words come up here.
Oh, everything I wanted to be when I grew up. Yes, that might be my favorite.
I want to do one of those. I need to do that. I'm not adding words yet onto my thing. That's because it's like I try and do everything just in that moment, and I want to do it for 10 seconds, and then I'm moving on. But I loved that, and I'm thinking, okay, you know, it's because you're younger than me. You're getting in on the trends, but. Do you ever come up with concepts or see ideas and go, that would work great for Monet here, and that would be great for Two Smart Cookies here?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You should see my saved folder right now on social media.
Have you ever posted cookies on your? Have you ever posted cookies? Yeah. Have you ever done it the wrong way around?
Oh my gosh, I did. I don't even know if I told you the other day. Yeah, I posted one of my hair reels, and it went on the cookie page, and I was like, no.
But you never know. It might just be, that's different.
It might just take off.
Well, and I think too, so we had a huge cookie following. We had probably 7,000 followers on Instagram, huge number, and then we were hacked this summer. So I think that Kate
and you couldn't get it back.
No, we never did.
I mean, I got hacked, and I lost everything, and for a month I kept going and going and going and going, and I managed to get it back. But somebody actually owned up to the hacking, and it was a client. Don't share your email and Wi-Fi password.
Oh my gosh.
People.
Ours was, it was someone, it felt so sleazy too. It was someone, somewhere else. It said it was in New York. And as I went to try to change my password real quick, they were already in our account. So we would get an email saying, I see you're trying to change your password. Like it was so.
It is your email.
They held it for ransom.
It's your email they get you from. And then they managed to log in and do everything. Yeah, they literally take over my account, change my name and everything. And I just kept going and going and going. There's no real path to recover that. And I know people that have like huge followings, and it almost makes you want to give up and forget it. And that's what social media has done now.
It was a hit, yeah. But I will say this, like to any other small business owners, and I've learned this was thankfully through money too, was because we have built a really solid email base.
Yes.
You have to have backups. Social media might be gone tomorrow.
Yes.
So like in that way over summer, it was gone. So
and how have you done that? How have you created
through our pop-ups,
the social media too.
and social media, and we would
asking people to share.
input into, and that's how we build our email list, and then just asking people to share.
But we're still not back to where we were.
No. And the hardest part for me was we lost our digital photo album.
Our
like
footprint,
we
like
lost
everything.
7 years
back
of
up,
a portfolio.
Yeah, I mean, we need to have
of
it
our
everywhere,
work.
right? Yeah,
Right.
And that is really frustrating.
So it was hard. It was hard.
And we had some really great people, like even famous people who had tagged us in cookies, and all
followed.
that was gone.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
rebuilding.
and there's no benefit to anyone hacking you.
Well, like, come on, people. Go,
Why? I mean, just get out.
I think that was our lowest moment. We were bitter.
Oh,
we were very
I
bitter.
cried.
real.
I had the most traumatic week, and it was because it took over.
Yeah.
And I had to get it back. I feel you. And when I see it happen to other people and they ask, how did you get it back? I tried all the avenues. The one thing I will say is how I think I got it back was I did all the things, sent a picture of myself, verified, and now I'm paying for verification. Although I know someone who was hacked with that.
I do too.
Yeah, so
Still
that's
happens.
not a thing. But I went through the ad center. So go where it hurts them. I said, I want to place an ad, but someone's taken over my account. What do I need to do? I actually managed to speak to a person because I went through the Facebook ad center about my Instagram being hacked.
Interesting.
And they advised me in all the route to go. And I won't lie, it was... What I kept doing was sending the new password request form. I just kept sending it. Whenever I had a minute, I would be pressing it and sending it. So it was completely taking over my life. And then I just pulled up outside a client's house. This is like a month later, and I sent it. And in that moment, I got the correct details come back in order for me to go in, change the password, and get it back.
Oh my gosh.
And so there was no form. It was just doing it. It's almost
Over
like you
and
have
over
to
again.
know someone. They really, really need to do that. I feel like we've been
Absolutely.
monopolized into buying into it. It is free. We get to do this thing. Social media is
But
amazing.
you're invested.
Make it safe for us.
Exactly.
You are invested so much time. But like
So
you said,
much
have your email list so you can build it
Definitely.
back up again.
Yes.
But yeah, wouldn't it be great if they were like, this is what you need to do to fix it? I don't understand.
Totally.
We have bank accounts, and yes, banks get hacked. But you know,
There's some insurance
you
there.
can, and you can get it
Right.
back. I mean, I know. I just wonder why these people do this.
I
It
don't
seems a bit. So yeah, so you took you a minute,
It did.
and then did you just go onwards and upwards? We need to move on.
Well, and
For
it
sure.
happened over the summer.
Yeah.
So that was kind of during our break. So it did give us enough breathing time to say, okay, let's pivot.
Yeah.
You know, what do we have to do? But starting back, knowing what we know now at ground zero with Instagram,
Yeah.
I think we are still kind of a little bitter about it, though.
Of course you are. So you have
It's
to
not
use
back to-
Instagram. Where are you? Where's Too Smart Cookies? Where can it be found?
What's our handle?
Yeah, well, all of the avenues that you use.
Oh,
Instagram,
so Instagram and
Facebook.
Facebook. Yeah, Too Smart Cookies FL is our new handle that we got. But luckily, he did not get into our Facebook, so that was another great thing. We still had that.
But
So
they
that
are
was
the
still
same
built up.
thing. They're connected.
They
'Cause
were, but
yeah.
I was able to quickly shut down and change the password on my Facebook, on our Facebook,
And
before they got
do you
into
now
it.
change your password quite frequently?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
and have that.
So much we can't even remember
Yeah.
it.
Well, it's
do that
funny.
all
It's
the
like,
time.
can I tell you, it's like the lock code. I actually have a note on my phone
Yeah.
for every time I change it. Because for one day I changed it, forgot to write it down, and I stood outside my door trying to change the lock code like for about
Oh my
6 hours.
gosh, no.
But that's because, I don't have a memory on these things. What other things are you going to do to grow your business without changing too much right now? I mean, how does your marketing look? Are you just receiving inquiries, or are you actually actively
do.
trying to?
Yeah,
create
we're really
them?
fortunate. I mean, we are booked out on custom orders are a big thing. We do pop-ups, but pop-ups, as I said, it takes a lot of time.
Of course it does.
And plus, you never are completely sure of how much to make. If you overproduce, this product has a shelf life. People don't want
And
Valentine's
do you think
cookies after
people are?
Valentine's Day.
Yeah, I mean, people are buying them more as a gift thing and to put on their
Right.
table and to have in that. So it is kind of. I imagine it's a difficult thing. I remember seeing you the house pop up and thinking, well, I really love them, but I don't really need them in this minute. You know what I mean?
And what's interesting that we found, and we've really only become aware of this the last couple of years, is our client base does a pivot and shift. So whereas before, these families were constantly booking us for birthday party, the baby shower, then the birthday party, then the teacher gifts.
Yes.
Well, then they don't give teacher gifts anymore. They're out of the baby shower. So it's really, whereas for a while we didn't have to attract a lot of new customers because we had such a great base, but they kind of age out. So in the last 2 years, you're having to fully pivot and say, okay, we have to, and that's how we came into the Scout Guide. That was about the time we did that too. So.
And that's a whole different interesting market. And I think there's money in the corporate world. There's money in business and away from the domestic. It gets a little bit easier dealing with people in the corporate world. It's not as a motive. It's more of a transaction. It depends on how you can make that fulfilling for you.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And with Monet, do you see yourself going all the way with that? I know it's exciting going off on leadership retreats and stuff, especially when you get to make fun TikToks on videos like you do. But and I do enjoy watching them. My husband's like, "What are you watching now?" I'm like, "Just kittens, just shush." But you know,
Just kittens.
you go back to your soccer, which is what he's watching. But yeah, tell me. I mean, do you see? Was it something that fulfilled something, or do you feel like you want to go further with it?
I do want to go further with it because, like I said, a shift happened in me where all of a sudden I've seen that the potential of this and the potential for my family to be able, my husband's a firefighter. He works very hard and he works a lot of overtime just to make ends meet. I don't want him to have to do that anymore. No. So I want to keep going with this company, help other women do the same thing, and help my husband come home more. So I see myself going more with money, but at the same time, like with cookies too, I'm so passionate about both that both fulfill me in such different ways that I mean, I'm always doing, like there's no way I could pick one or the other.
Yeah, you wear hats, the hats well with good hair. Good.
Thank you.
Do you use the shampoo too?
I do.
Yeah, I was going to say you both had good hair.
I do.
Two smart cookies with a hella good hair.
That's a good tagline.
That's fantastic. No, I love it.
But listen, I've really enjoyed having you both, and I feel like we could keep talking more and more. I want some lessons, please. I want to know about some videos, and because I'm just putting any old rubbish out there. I'll show myself up. I said I need to start sucking it in and tucking my pants in when I shoot a video because I just put myself out. Maybe like you said, the authentic, I mean the messy middle it's the real thing, but the authenticity I think is appealing.
Yes.
I knew immediately I met you in here and I wasn't even the one taking your picture. Next time we'll work on that.
Oh,
we'll do that.
Definitely.
I'll get you cute pinnies though. We'll do it in cute pinnies. You call them aprons though. We call them pinnies.
Okay.
Pinafores. But
we like that better.
Yeah.
we like that sounding better.
Well, in your cottage, do it.
That's
do the thing.
plan.
Kick out the tenants. You'll have fun and just enjoy it. But enjoy your trip to Michigan.
Thank you.
Go Blue. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
So Two Smart Cookies, they can find you on Instagram.
At Two Smart Cookies FL.
Two Smart Cookies FL. Go follow. And on Facebook.
It's the same.
Same
Two
thing.
Smart
Yeah,
Cookies
excellent.
FL. Yep.
And all these pop-ups and your cookies are amazing. I'm going to look forward to
Thank
mine
you.
a bit later on. Thank you
Yeah,
so
we
much.
brought snacks.
Yeah,
Thanks for having
love
us.
that.
This was so much fun.
Great. Thank you.